So, what if you could learn literally anything? A new coding language, a complex business strategy, in just a fraction of the time it normally takes? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down an AI-powered workflow that can slash your study time by, get this, 90%. Look, if you've ever felt like you're just drowning in articles and videos and books, you are not alone. I mean, the amount of information we're expected to absorb for our jobs, for our hobbies, for our personal growth, it's just staggering. And to put that into perspective, think about this. A single online course can easily eat up 10 hours of your life, and that's just one course. When you're trying to pick up a new skill, that can feel like a totally impossible mountain to climb. But we're not just talking about shaving off a few minutes here and there. We are talking about completely changing the learning equation with a repeatable AI-driven system that you can use for anything. All right, here's the game plan. First, we're going to define what the modern learning problem really is. Then, we'll walk through a super simple 3-step solution using 3 powerful tools. And finally, we'll see how it all comes together to give you what is basically a new learning superpower. So let's get into it. The challenge we're facing today isn't that we're bad at learning. Not at all. It's that the old school methods we use just haven't kept up with the insane amount of information that's now at our fingertips. You know the old way, right? You passively sit through hours and hours of video, just kind of hoping something sticks. The new way is active. It's all about engaging with the material, breaking it down, and then reinforcing it intelligently. And that is exactly what this AI workflow lets you do. Okay, this is where the magic really starts. To tackle all that information overload, the first thing we have to do is refine it, boil it down to pure, concentrated knowledge. And that brings us to our first tool, Notebook LM. So, Notebook LM is this incredible and free tool from Google. You can basically feed it these really long sources, like, say, the entire transcript from that 10-hour video course, and it instantly becomes an expert on that specific material, just for you. And the time savings here are just mind-blowing. We are literally talking about compressing hours and hours of content into just a few minutes of highly focused material. This isn't just a small improvement. It is a complete game changer for how you can process information. And here's how it works. First, you can ask it for a briefing document, which is just a super high-level summary of all the key ideas. Second, and this is so cool, you can have it generate a study guide, complete with questions and answers. We'll come back to why that is so important in a minute. And third, you can even have it create a conversational script explaining the concepts, which you can read or even turn into your own personal podcast. And this quote right here just perfectly illustrates why those features are so powerful. We know from learning science that we remember things way better when we encounter them in different formats. So with Notebook LM, you get to read a summary, quiz yourself with a study guide, and listen to a deep dive, all created from the exact same source material. It's brilliant. Okay, so you've distilled your content down, you've got your summary, but what happens when you hit a concept in that summary that you just don't get? Well, that brings us to step 2, your personal on-demand AI tutor. You know that feeling, right? This is such a huge friction point in learning on your own. You get stuck on one little idea, and your entire study session just grinds to a halt. In a classroom, you'd have to wait to ask a teacher, but with this system, the answer is instant. The solution is so simple. You just pop over to Gemini and ask your question. You can ask for an analogy, a simpler definition, a step-by-step breakdown. It doesn't matter if it's a super technical question about JavaScript variables or something scientific like cloud seeding. Gemini can explain it in seconds. You never have to get stuck again. So, why Gemini specifically? Well, there are a few really practical advantages. First off, it's free to use. Plus, it gives you infinite prompts, unlike some other free tools that cut you off. And it's extremely fast. All of that means you can stay in your learning flow without any annoying interruptions. All right, you've distilled the info, you've clarified any confusion. Now for the final and maybe most crucial step, making sure that knowledge actually stays in your brain for good. And this is where we bring in a tool called Anki. Now, Anki is not just any flashcard app. It's built on this powerful scientific idea called spaced repetition. So instead of just showing you cards randomly, the app's algorithm actually tracks how well you know each fact. It then intelligently schedules the next time you see that card for the exact moment you're about to forget it. It's honestly one of the most efficient ways possible to move knowledge into your long-term memory. And here is where the whole system just clicks together so beautifully. Remember that study guide Notebook LM made for us earlier? Well, you simply take those questions and answers, create a new deck in Anki, and copy and paste them over. In just a few minutes, you've turned a massive 10-hour video course into a powerful, science-backed memorization tool that you can use on your phone anytime. Okay, we've covered the 3 individual steps. Now let's just zoom out for a second and see how this powerful engine for learning all fits together. It really all comes down to this simple setup. You've got Notebook LM as your distiller, breaking down huge sources of information. You've got Gemini as your clarifier for that on-demand help whenever you need it. And you've got Anki as your master, making sure you lock that knowledge in for the long haul. Each tool has a very clear job in one seamless system. So the entire workflow is this simple: distill, clarify, master. That's it. It's a simple, repeatable loop that you can apply to absolutely anything you want to learn, turning what used to be a daunting task into a manageable and, honestly, an enjoyable process. And look, this system isn't just for students who are cramming for an exam. This is a workflow for lifelong learning. Imagine using this to master a new piece of software for your job, or to really understand a competitor's business strategy, or maybe to finally dig into that complex topic you've just always been curious about. So the question I really want to leave you with is this. Now that you have a system that can dramatically speed up your learning, that removes the old barriers of time and complexity, what's the first big thing you're going to tackle?